Hello everybody, this is my video in astrophysics number 42. Well, as you can see, my native language is French, therefore I will try to speak the best English I can. And something else, I am not a professional translator, but I produce the best translation of my French text than I can with a translator. And something else, I have to follow a text so that I don't forget important details. And for those who find my video without going through my website, let me introduce myself. My name as a self-taught and multidisciplinary scientist is Gilles Lauzon Urtubise, and I am the owner of the first human multi-intelligence.com site. So as you know, the title of my video is Gravitational Principle Used to Explain the Behavior of All Objects that Revolve Around Another Object. So, for example, in the case of the Moon, which revolves around the Earth, this gravitational principle is used to explain all the elements and reasons why the Moon revolves around the Earth, or why the Earth revolves around the Sun, or why the Sun is revolving around the center of the Milky Way. And for other information that will come to and for other information that will come to light after filing my first patent for my extraordinary spaceship of the first generation, and maybe after filing my third patent for my extraordinary spaceship of the third generation. So, moreover, this gravitational principle was the most difficult to invent because it required a tremendous amount of invention of new ideas, new modification, and other secret intellectual elements, which is somewhere between 100 and 200 or more different new inventions over a period of about 4 years of hard work, until obtaining a gravitational principle which is satisfactory enough for me, up to a satisfaction level that is somewhere between 99% and 100%, and which is fundamental for the mode of behavior and of displacement in relation to the revolution that almost all the objects of the universe carry out in relation to another object, so as to explain almost all the functioning of the universe on a microscopic scale. Moreover, and according to my result of my self-study, which are largely in astrophysics and a little in chemistry of only 5 years and 8 months, and during which I have managed to invent and or produce between 50 and 100 theories or more in astrophysics. These studies have led me to invent and or produce a sufficient quantity of theories to successfully decode the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale, and to successfully explain the origin of all objects, the origin of all non-objects, as well as how they formed, how they functioning, and the circumstances or condition that led to one or the other of the different possible deaths. But of course, that I will only reveal after filing my first patent and maybe my third patent. So, something else. On the other hand, my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, it must have somewhere between 3,000 pages and 6,000 or more pages, about the same than this one, and with the same character. So somewhere between 3 and 6,000 or more pages of documents. So something else. As far as I am concerned, there is no way that my extremely high physical logical mind could be bothered or fooled by any branches of complex mathematics. And among of my 50 and 100 theories or more of my imposing model theory, there is none that has any connection depends on mathematics. And about the same theories, there are none of these that can be characterized as one or more accommodating magical thoughts form or any other magical thinking. Because my extremely high physical logical mind, it originates from an insatiable curiosity about nature that started from an age that is only 5 or 6 years old or earlier and until now. So from a very early age I found myself assimilating a considerable amount of nature experience and relationship between physical to physical effect to understand how nature's work much as I can at that time. So from an early age, I'm starting by observing the nature of soil, rivers, insects, small animals, and all things in the nature that takes too long to list. Because I had a great chance to be born on a farm, and at the ends of the lands of this farm they have a bush, and in the back of our house they have a large river. So every morning, by a pretty young time, and every morning is possible, I wake up and going to walk along the river to try to surprise a fish in the water or any other kind of animals, small animals of the nature. So then in this way, and for several decades, I have managed to accumulate a considerable amount of experience nature and physical cause and relation between physical cause to physical effect in my biological hard drive or brain. Because this is extremely useful afterwards to be able to differentiate the possible things from the impossible things. And among other things, never to be trapped by all kinds of mathematical magical thoughts or other forms of magical thinkings, which have nothing in common with physical reality. And thanks to my extremely high intellectual capacity in deep investigation, in deep reflection, in very deep analysis, and limitless inventiveness of all kinds, and many other forms of very important intelligence that I used to practice continually. So all of these things, this allowed me to be the first and only one in history to be able to decode how the universe works on a macroscopic scale and in an extreme short times of only 5 years and 8 months, whereas every other astrophysicist or planetologist before me has been unable to do so for the past 200 years and more. Currently, my 50 and 100 theories of my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale give me a level of satisfaction that is somewhere between 96% and 98.5%, and I will never be completely satisfied until I achieve 100% satisfaction. And that is the reason I like to tackle at least 3 or 4 extremely complex files or more at the time, who are currently, number 1, of course, my imposing model theory, which I want to bring to 100% satisfaction. Number 2, my pattern, which is about between 300 and 350 pages for my extraordinary spaceship. So I need to find the funding because I want to finalize the best possible pattern until it can be 100% protected. Some other folder is a personal file, personal dossier for myself that I need to cure after COVID-19. Another one is cancer of men and women, which I want absolutely study with collaborator from a search center. And this time I will not start from zero knowledge, but like I did with astrophysicists, but this time with the actual knowledge. So, and plus with collaborators. So in this way I used to do a lot of progress in those files. I'm quite sure I can do a lot in there. So, well, so of course they have a lot of evidence of a complete misunderstanding of how the universe works on a microscopic scale on the part of all the other astrophysicists before me, because from them what they think they know it's about 15% of the functioning of the universe. But personally I think half of their knowledge they think they know they are false. So their real knowledge is probably somewhere between 7.5% of the functioning of the universe. So, but we'll see then. And because of this, because I succeed in this functioning of the universe, I know the immense difficulty and complexity to overcome for all the other astrophysicists before me, before they can begin to decode little by little how all the objects in the universe works at beginning, but they never succeed in this. But if, for example, if they succeed after his huge work, after that they have to be able to start forming different theories until they become satisfactory and agree with each other. And after this immense difficulty, they can be able to start producing a sufficient quantity of theories that can all be complementary until they manage to explain how the universe works from A to Z, or almost until proven otherwise. But of course that was impossible for them. But in the way then, so they have to achieve the same level of explanation as all of my theories of my imposing model theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. So for me, of course, it is very easy to understand why no one before me had any chance to achieve such an intellectual feat like mine. For example, just my imposing model theory, and all of my other works, which is amazing too. Then something else, and of all of my theories that go into my imposing model theory, there are none of them that can be called or a theory of one or more accommodating magical thought or any other magical thinking, because all of my theories are based on one or more relationship of physical cause to physical effect and nothing else. So, on the other hand, if it's happened in the near future that I come realize that one of my theories is no longer acceptable, I will change it right away. But it is possible that any of my theories could be completely wrong. No, it's impossible. But in the worst possible cases, I will just have to make one or a few slight modification of it. In conclusion of this part of text, my intellectual and humanitarian ambition and my responsibility as a multidisciplinary and self-taught scientist and humanist is to advance the knowledge of the universe. Plus, it's produce or form a website which it should be the best predictive website in history. Because one of its sections, it's used to make a dating site, but with system tools that it's help a lot to protect the good person when they want to meet another person. So then, and lots of system tools, they help the user to become a better person, so to change himself to becomes better, and this. So another section which is used to protect the environment in the way that they regroup all the new ideas and the best ideas around the world, plus my new ideas from me, then but all the new ideas from all over the world, which is published on my website with the name of the owner. So and yes, so all of these things, it's a new ideas to protect environment, new practice of living, new comportment to protect much as possible the environment, because our planet is the only house as we have. So, and something else, another section to protect much as possible the animals and the nature, because by protecting them we also protecting us. Then and lots other things which is used to promote a multitude of system tools. They help to promote the peace in public and at every step or level of the society. Of course, it's for the future of the humanity and the kids they becomes after us. So then, and something else, the term impossible is a term that I will never respect as long as I am sufficiently in good physical, intellectual and mental condition. Something else, I need help to start forming a small research center in astrophysics, physics, particle physics, chemistry, biology and medicine, and a lots of other subjects which they are less important, and then which they are too long to list. So then, but all of this in a form of PPP. Then, so for those who do not know the term PPP, it means public and private partnership, because thereafter I intend to buy back the government investment and ultimately becomes the sole owner of the research center and all of my other enterprises. Because the money for me, it's only important in the way that it can help me to buy new tools or to build new tools or to produce new research by the employment of employees, and so yes, the money is only important to help me to produce just much more new good things for the humanity and for the future of the humanity, and that's it. Because the only things I like to do in my life by now is produce good things and much as I can. So because it's so grateful then to doing this, then we feel so good after this. Then okay, so I need a slow start that will allow me to be able to stay in control of the investment until I can become independent enough to buy it out. So the start of my research center must begin with hiring a science writer and a volunteer group of students and one or few science professors who would serve as my review committee to correct, adjust, and finalize all of my scientific articles and in the way they have to be finalized by the best knowledge it should be produced. So, and until they are perfect as possible. Something else, so that the participant of the student and professor, they would serve as training towards new notion of astrophysics, which aim to correct false notion in astrophysics, and in other cases where there is currently no astrophysical explanation for this or that phenomenon of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, at any other scales, whatever. So, in addition, and if possible, I intend to form a scientist journal in my name, because apart from most of the measurements that are made from Earth's powerful telescope relative to the approximate volume of objects or other rough measurement that I accept. Why? Because they are produced by the best tools, the best telescope and tools as we had by now, and by scientific professionals, or professional scientific and professional mathematics men. So then that's why I accept all of those work. But on the other side, most of the theory produced to try to partially explain the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale, I'm sorry, but most of them are erroneous, and in many cases they have no explanation at all. So then, and from my side, I succeed to build a huge wall of little bricks, which are all theories that fit into my imposing modern theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, and which are used to explain from A to Z the origin of all the known objects of the universe, as well as their mode of formation, their mode of functioning, their circumstances or the condition which led to one or the other different possible deaths, and many other things specific to each type of object, but that I will only reveal after my first pattern and maybe my third pattern then. On the other hand, and about a year after the start of my self-taught study in astrophysics and a little in chemistry, which I began early February 2014, so 1 year later, it's about early February 2015, when I invent, without realizing it at the time, but the day after, an exceptional first-generation device that is capable of producing my first gravitational technology. Well, from that point on, I found it extremely unfortunate that I had to continue working alone because of the pattern that I had to continue to keep in secret. So the last 6 years and 2 months or so, I have been forced to work alone. But now that is no longer the case, because I have completed all of the parts that contains my invention in astrophysics and my invention in physical mechanics, that going into my paper pattern, which is about 300, which is somewhere between 300 and 350 pages. So for my extraordinary spaceship of the first generation then, as well as those of my exceptional device of the first generation, which is capable of producing my first gravitational technology, but my second and third too, then I invent after that. So then, and in the meantime, it may be possible for me to decide to patent my exceptional third generation device, which is capable of producing the 10 extraterrestrial gravitational technology for an other extraordinary spaceship of the third generation. So, and which I invent about 1 or 2 weeks ago, but which I discovered by documentary, which the name is UFO, a matter of state. So then, and which is a French document. So then, and but at that time I didn't have to work on new invention because I have so much work to do. So the only times I had to doing this, it's the last 1 or 2 weeks ago, because I'm still working on that kind of folder then. So well, during the time then I just produced the video. During the time I produced this video, it was the same time that I invent this 10 extraterrestrial gravitational technology. So, and to conclude, if I had been able to work for the last 6 years and 2 months with collaborators from a research center, of course, I would have invented and or produce a lot more new things, new theories, new invention, and new other things, which is too long to list, but a lot more. So, well, thank you for viewing my video, and welcome to see my next video, which will reveal my opinion on another pretty complex subjects of the universe. So, thank you. Goodbye.